ASU's Global Futures Water Institute is an effort to better predict and address water challenges in Arizona and around the world. Upmanu Lal is the inaugural director of the Institute, and he joins us now. Good to have you here. Thanks for joining.
Hi, Ted. How are you?
I'm doing very well. The Global Futures Water Institute, give me a better definition.
Give you a better definition. Well, let's start with Global Futures. So this is an initiative at Arizona State that looks forward, of course. And the idea is that humanity now faces many challenges. And by trying to anticipate them and address them, we might actually make it.
So doing a better job of predicting is what's at stake here.
It's anticipating is what I would say, because sometimes people think of prediction in a very narrow sense.
Yes.
And so the idea here is that we are trying to actually think about scientifically what might happen. Climate change is an example. Water security is another example.
Yeah, and give me an example of maybe predicting water challenges here in Arizona, because we sure got them.
Yeah, so it's kind of an interesting place. You wouldn't expect there would be a large population here, yet here we are in Phoenix. The thing that sustains this particular land are episodic rainfall events, but groundwater and the Colorado River. Absent the diversion of the Colorado River, we would have a somewhat different story. So those are some of the challenges, but even given the increasing population here, it seems that we should really not have that much of a problem if we manage things wisely.
Yeah, and I think, SRP with the reservoirs and these sorts of things from the mountains, that's pretty well done, and it seems to do a pretty good job.
It does indeed, yeah.
Okay, is this interdisciplinary? Are you using different aspects of the university involved here?
So the idea with Global Futures Water Institute is to bring the university together. It turns out that there are over 150 faculty working on water in different aspects, social sciences, even environmental justice issues, technologies, using satellite information and so forth. So the goal here is that with this, bringing all of these things together to solve problems, identify problems that may happen that people are not talking about yet, and then start thinking about how to solve them. So it's a very proactive approach.
Is looking like from ground zero right now, looking into the future, I mean, the future changes. The goalposts move, do they not?
Of course. If one way to think about it is when the reservoirs that are here were designed, what they anticipated would be future demand is probably not what we have today. So you're always changing.
Yeah, indeed. And migration changes and population growth changes. That all factors in.
Yeah, that all factors in, exactly. If you look today, Arizona is rapidly developing a technology base. It was historically an agricultural base. In the future, we have to see how both of those things can be satisfied.
What are we doing wrong right now? Why is the Global Futures Water, why is it needed?
It's needed because water is fragmented in terms of how it's dealt with. If you look at any country or a state in the US, you have at least 6 to 10 agencies that are all doing something about water. But their ability to anticipate, coordinate, and understand what happens is limited because each one has a very specific mandate, and they try to thread that needle. So one of the roles that a university institute has is how to actually look at the bigger picture and provide guidance on what to do.
And provide guidance and try to get these folks to take that guidance.
Exactly, which is also a challenge.
I was going to say, how big a challenge is that?
That is possibly a challenge because each of the people who run each of these agencies are very good at what they do, and the agencies do good work. The thing that's limited in the United States in particular compared to many other countries is planning. This is a weak spot for some reason because we have much more of a regulatory sort of structure in the agencies that manage water than we do in terms of planning forward. And one of the challenges we face across the United States is that much of our water infrastructure is now old, beyond its design life. Yeah. So we need to redesign, rebuild.
I think a quote from you is that climate-induced hazards, all these climate-induced hazards that we hear about, water is always a factor.
Yes. So it's interesting that to simplify the story of climate change, what we did was we said it's going to be warmer. It is, but do we care about warmth? And a place like Phoenix, yes, you do when you have a multiple 100-degree days in a run, but those are manageable. Imagine now that you had no water here, or you were perpetually flooded. Those become untenable.
Yes, yeah. Our politicians, our leaders, civic leaders, are they getting the message?
I don't think so to the degree that they need to, because I'll connect it to the aging infrastructure part.
Yes.
We need to spend between $2 to $4 trillion over the next 30 years to refurbish our aging infrastructure on water. This is dams, this is levees, this is urban water infrastructure. Talking about replacement doesn't make sense. As you said earlier, conditions are perpetually changing. So what we have today in terms of technologies should allow us to give an opportunity to people that they have water at their tap in their house that's of a quality that is safe, and they should be able to see it. Technologically, we can do that. But the other thing is we have to get water to them. So we have to be thinking about what the climate is going to do, where people are moving, where the agriculture should be moving or where it is, how we can reinforce the water supply for agriculture so that those people don't suffer. So putting it all together is like doing one of the puzzles.
Yes.
And it's not that easy.
No, it doesn't sound that easy. A lot of moving systems there. Manu Lal again, Global Futures Water Institute. Best of luck to you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.